You know, perhaps a miracle is the undoing of elusive thinking about the world as we see it. You know, perhaps a miracle is maybe taking the body out of our thoughts and allowing the mind to operate at infinite heights. How you think about miracles can very well be the foundation of your existence while in this world. Hey everyone, my name is James Nussbaumer, and I am the author of these two fabulous books that I hope you'll get a copy of if you don't already have one. The first one, the pilot of my ever-developing series, is called The Master of Everything. It's a story of mankind in the world of illusion we call life. And its sequel, which was just released July 1st, 2016, is called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, Lessons from A Course in Miracles. And both these books are published by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company and are on sale everywhere books are sold. And I'm told they're a page turner, and I'm really proud of the comments that I'm getting about these books. But some months after finding myself in prison, yes, in prison, for a foolish securities violation as a financial advisor, and then a remorseful and shattered man because of what had happened, I was moved to a section in the prison, to a section for housing for considered to be old prisoners, and that was anyone over the age of 30. Yes, that just goes to show you, how young the population is in prison. There I discovered in my assigned footlocker a worn, musty, abandoned copy of A Course in Miracles, a book that I really had long been searching for, but to no avail. A miracle indeed is what I say that it was. And at that time, at age 50, which was in 2007, and removed from my high-pressured life as a financial advisor, I had the time now in prison to absorb the course's complex lessons. My studies revealed to me the nature of the prison in which virtually all of us dwell in. It's that of the dominance of the ego-based mind and our belief in separation from the one mind of creation, or we could say God. I also recognized the meaning of certain experiences I'd been having since my youth. I had found my work and the direction that I would take upon my release from prison, which was the result of these two books. A voice, or the way I describe it, is insistent thoughts in my mind were telling me what I needed to do, so I began to write. From there, my first book, The Master of Everything, was born. Like I said, a story of mankind in the world of illusion we call life is its subtitle. And this was born almost immediately after diving into A Course in Miracles. I just was so excited about what I was writing about. Book 2 of the series, entitled Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, the sequel, and a third book is on the way. It's in the publishing process right now, and I'm really looking forward to that. But both these books are down to earth, very accessible, and illustrated with stories and anecdotes from my life and experiences behind prison walls. I use those experiences to prove key points in my writing and about the nature of what we really are. And I saw a strong parallel with my physical prison incarceration from the mental imprisonment that we put ourselves in daily. But my purpose is to offer you an easy-to-follow path to the healing of the separated mind, illumination, if you will. Almost immediately upon writing the final word of this book here, The Master of Everything, almost immediately an urging came forward in my mind, that voice that I had mentioned a little bit ago, that insistent thoughts going on in my mind. I call it a voice, but it was really more of a pure thought. And it was telling me that there was yet much more that I needed to write about. And I realized that another book, perhaps more books, had just become my goal. And that's what had happened. Although I myself certainly felt complete, that recurrent voice was instructing me to extend what I had learned, to extend that outward to others. And that's been my goal. With unmistakable clarity, deeper thoughts had surfaced, telling me that I just had to keep on writing. So needless to say, sometimes I need to be hit on the head and alerted a couple of times. And here we go again with the Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, the sequel, and with the third on its way. Unfortunately, though, I had spent 8 long years in prison over this foolish securities violation. The prison sentence was overtly political. Many have told me that, and even the media has shown that. But with my ink pen flowing daily, because there was no computer in prison, into black and white modeled composition journals, something like a college student may use. I'm sure you can have an idea what that looks like. That's where my writing, where my notes were compiled and then went into book form at a handwritten stage. That's just as far as I was going to get that while I was in prison. But it became an exciting journey for me, and it was full of faith that I was going somewhere and I was going to help people on the outside once I got able to get out there and into the regular world and start meeting people and talking to them. And I had full faith that you too can begin opening your mind to look inside of your mind and open it up and find that there is another way of looking at the world by being one with it. But first, allow me to remind you where I was in the first book, The Master of Everything, before you go on any further, and tell you where I take my reader in book 2, if you're contemplating buying both books. And in book 2, it's for those who maybe have read the first book, but it's been a while, and for those who maybe have not read the first book, you're okay with the second book without reading the first one. But it's important that I briefly summarize and review its essential lessons so we can easily and comfortably move on from here. But in The Master of Everything, the first book, I discussed how to open yourself up so you may be guided to a supreme freedom of your own through the deepest levels of forgiveness and a profound experience of miracles being a part of your daily life. Yes, everyday miracles. We realized in the first book that all things that frighten us occur in a world of illusion, that the world, a collective dream, we can say, that we call life, is merely a projection on the theater screen in our minds, so to speak, which conceals a more real world. Yes, the theater screen that we project images on in our mind is blocking what's behind the screen, which is our true reality, if that makes any sense to you. A miracle is not the arrangement, or the rearrangement, I should say. A miracle is not the rearrangement of the figures in the dream of life, but an awakening from that dream. I'm not speaking of turning water into wine or parting a sea. I'm speaking of seeking a practical goal as a whole, a return to inner peace. This does not mean trying to force something outside of us to change, through the miracle. No, it doesn't, but rather for something inside of us to change. In other words, changing our minds on how we look at the world we're living in. Here's to everyday miracles in your life. I wish the best for you. And before I end this, I want to say that I'd quickly like to add that I have a system that I use to claim real abundance and miracles in my life, and it's my true extension of self. And it's a home-based networking business that I use to promote my books. And any business owner can use this networking system to market their own businesses. And I'll just leave it there for now for you to decide to check the link out in the description box of this YouTube video and go from there. But it's all about helping others get what they want in life, which is important, isn't it? I'm so pleased with the results that I'm getting. And it's operated and run by really good people, helping other really good people get on their feet and move forward and have everyday miracles in their life. I wish the best for you. I really do. And I hope you're thinking a lot about your own life right now and the natural gifts that you have inside of you that you can extend out to the world and help the world become more whole. God bless you. And once again, I wish the best for you. Thanks again for listening to me.